Every once in a while, you're going to find yourself on a bad team. As if the medic's job wasn't hard enough, now you're saddled with teammates who hardly have any idea how to play the game, let alone keep you alive. It's times like this, you need ways to help coax at least some semblance of skill out of everyone else. And luckily, there are a few tricks you can use to turn the tables when your entire team is 15 different flavors of useless. It's probably worth mentioning what I mean when I say a bad team, because as you can imagine, the term itself is really open to interpretation. Bear in mind that just because the rest of the team hasn't sold their soul to the meta like you have does not mean they're bad. Trust me when I say there's nothing wrong with mediocrity.
That's a promise.
You see, it's the below average players that take the cake. I mean, completely oblivious pyros, NGs building on last, and demos not knowing what right click does, and of course the obligatory collection of spies perpetually waiting to respawn. Now, a lot of these players are new to the game, and that's fine. We all gotta start somewhere. But when your entire team is filled with them, and the other team isn't, that's the moment it doesn't get very fun, especially for a medic. Probably the biggest reasons teams suck is because of this screen right here. Since Team Fortress 2 doesn't give you advice on what classes would work best at the moment, like other games do, people just kind of play what they want to. I mean, sometimes it works, and more often than not, it doesn't. Next thing you know, you're looking at a hopeless collection of NGs, spies, snipers, and of course the obligatory AFK pyro. Fortunately for us, there's a couple of ways to fix this. What you'll usually see is it kind of evening itself out over time as people start to realize that whatever they're playing isn't helping. Spy is no fun when there's no one to distract the enemy, and sniper's no fun when nobody keeps the people you're trying to shoot far enough away, but to be fair, it's never stopped anyone before. So you can expect within the first few minutes for a handful of players to splinter off and play something a bit more palatable as they realize whatever they're doing just isn't worth it. Probably the most dependable way to fix an amalgamated bag of pick classes is, honestly, just asking them. By asking politely, you can probably get the kind of classes that you need. And I purposely say politely, because I know how much a lot of players like to bitch about the number of snipers and spies on their team. So instead of being a total dick about it, just ask please and thank you for more power classes or a teleporter. It's not that difficult. Of course, some players might be stubborn and continue to play whatever class they overestimate their skill in, but you'll find that just by asking for an extra soldier, heavy, pyro, or maybe even demo, there will always be at least a few who are happy to oblige. In regular games, your choice of metagun can be the deciding factor between dignity and failure, and of course, having a group of terrible teammates is no different. While I stand by the statement that with metiguns you can never go wrong with stock, this would have to be the exception. Ironically, I feel like for instances like this, the stock is probably the weakest option. My first choice for bad teams is the quick fix, weirdly enough, followed by the Vaccinator, Kritzkrieg, and then stock Uber. There are a couple reasons why I like the quick fix in these situations, the primary one being its increased healing rate. Restoring health faster makes the game much less punishing of mistakes, and making mistakes is all some teams will ever do, so the quick fix helps your team recover faster and allows them more time to react to people attacking them than the typical metagun. Plus, the quick fix charges at max speed consistently, and you're guaranteed an Uber within 38 seconds of healing, which can help flash heal your team and save your skin in the pinch. The stock metagun works, but because of how much more difficult it is to gain a charge with teammates who have the building capacity of Patrick Star, there's pressure to actually do something with them. Quick fix Ubers, however, can be used on the fly because of how soon you'll have another one. The same could be said for the Vaccinator, but it's primarily for a team that's getting destroyed by an overconfident soldier and his medic girlfriend, or a sniper with too much time on his hands. It's basically the pub stomping cure. The Kritzkrieg, on the other hand, works best when you have teammates who are actively trying. While it might not do much in the way of keeping you alive, the hope is to mow down the entire team before they even get close. It has a plus 25% charge rate, so like the quick fix, you'll have Ubers fairly often. The biggest issue with how the crits work is that it requires your teammates to actually hit their targets and not get killed. Which is why when it comes down to unskilled patients, heavies will often be the best ones to bestow the crits upon. The downside is, it's up to you and your wits to stay alive because the Kritzkrieg does shit to keep you breathing. The thing with any charge in these situations is that they should primarily be used to save yourself or your teammates. Coordinating a push would be virtually impossible with people who have the communication skills of Jaden Smith, so saving Ubers for when you need them the most is better than using them in the company of players who don't know how to capitalize on it. There will always be moments when a team is worse at keeping you alive than Lenny Smallheads with rabbits, which can pose a problem. You can't exactly heal well when you're dead now, can you? To stay on your feet, you gotta watch the company you keep. Sentry guns are a lifesaver, if not for their accuracy, but for how good of a distraction they are. It's pretty hard to pin down the medic when you're getting gunned down by Ed 209's hillbilly cousin. Plus, it's more than likely that there's a dispenser around. If there aren't any sentries in the area and the Texans have gone off to build Trump's wall, pyros and heavies are your next best choice. Although they're a lot more mobile, there's no guarantee they'll stick around and not splinter off to go do whatever critically important things free-to-plays have to do. Also, bear in mind that depending on their novice level, there's no promises they'll be able to kill whoever's knocking on your back door in the first place. The best way to look at bad teams is practice. Here's a chance for you to channel your inner lifeguard and see how well you can keep a team alive when they can barely swim, let alone get some of those sick frags, man. Use this opportunity to work on your crossbow shots, or maybe even get a chance to goof off with a weapon you don't often use, which for the most of you I'm sure is all of them. Hell, you can even work on some of your medic DM when you get cornered. That's the beauty of the unlockable metaguns. You'll have an Uber again in no time, so you got a lot less to lose. In the grand scheme of things, the best thing you could do is use the medic's deadliest weapon, communication. Just by talking with your team and keeping those lines open, you could probably get some good plays in. Preferably you'd do this through the microphone, but as I said before, this does not mean it's your chance to bitch at the team or treat them like they're 3-year-olds, however young they might seem. A little respect for your teammates can go a long way, and if you're friendly enough, you'd be surprised at how cooperative some players can be. If you can't speak to your team or don't feel like human interaction like everyone that I ever speak with ever, simple voice commands usually work just fine. My favorites being Z2 and Z3, the voice commands for go 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 and thanks, which arguably are the only ones you'll ever need. If people still aren't getting the hint, sometimes I use the Ubercharge ready command if I have one set to go. That line seems to stir something primal inside people, like the Windows XP startup sound or the SpongeBob theme song. If there's no imminent danger, sometimes I'll even lead them a little bit by walking in front of them facing them, just coaxing them to push forward more. Not everyone needs full instruction, mind you, just a little nudge in the right direction. The thing is, on teams like these where people are struggling with skill level, there's a huge likelihood of someone coming down with a serious case of the fuckets and changing class. If you're the only person on the server who even remotely enjoys Medic, by all means, I encourage you to choose him, especially on bad teams. It's not easy playing on teams with a collected number of 30 hours in game, but just by doing your job, even poorly, you can still make a difference. Everyone else probably hates losing just as much as you do, but if you manage to keep them alive long enough to have at least some moments of fun during that match, you've made it a hell of a lot easier on them. And think of that singular free-to-play pyro who hasn't had a single moment of glory in his 14 hours of playing, who constantly gets matched up with people who are exponentially better than him. Thanks to you, he finally has a kill streak he can brag about to his friends, all because you decided to Ubercharge him. And sure, his kills might have been a result of everyone's favorite 2-button tactic, but it's still something. I mean, maybe it's enough to help him enjoy the game more, or better yet, encourages him to go medic next time. After all, sometimes the best way to play TF2 is enjoy the little victories. Bad teams are bad teams, and there's not much you can do for it. Most of them are hopeless, but once in a while you'll be surprised at what comes out of them, and maybe, just maybe, because you played medic, you can help make everyone else's game a lot better.
I'm the invincible, undefeated champion. Mount Zion's my ancestors can't rely on. Star of David, nah, the thought of stardom. Martyrdom and done crumbs left to the dumb thumb. To this play button, glutton of words. I'm
just gonna come up this way. Oh, what a surprise! The Gibbous Pyro needs healing. Come on, man. I'll walk you out. You know what? We're gonna do it. Go. Get him! Boy, he did it! He did it! Son of a bitch.